What's up, everybody? It's Kristen here, and today we are focusing on your mindset completely. Before you make any goals, any plans, schedule anything on your calendar to commit yourself to, I want you to do a full reboot of your mind. If you change your mind, you change your life. There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. And something that I've noticed with change and mindset when people are starting out, or really just at any point, is that I think sometimes we believe that change should feel a certain way, or that it should be comfortable, or that it shouldn't be disruptive. And the truth of the matter is that change is often inconvenient. And so we can wrap our minds around the reality that if I want to see something going differently than what is the status quo at this point, I'm going to have to say yes to being uncomfortable, yes to being inconvenienced, yes to something being disrupted in my life. If we can wrap our minds around that and accept that that's going to be a part of the journey we're embarking on, I think that we would have a much better time taking life as it comes, staying consistent, staying disciplined, and not just being super thrown off by different things that are going to happen along the way. But a lot of times, because we make decisions to change in a place of either complete shame or overly extreme happiness and excitement about it, we really lose sight of the reality of the situation. And so today's talk is about accepting the reality of change. Change is good, but change involves a lot of things that are ultimately going to make you uncomfortable. So the question is, are you ready to be uncomfortable? Because in order to get out of your comfort zone, the reason why you've been in your comfort zone is because there's something that it's giving you that allows you to remain comfortable. And so in choosing to change, that means I'm not just choosing the outcome that's going to come from this, I'm choosing the process. And first and foremost, it's probably going to be inconvenient. I'm telling y'all this as I'm telling myself this, to be honest with you, because sometimes I can be like this with myself where I just set something into play that I want to do. And then when that time of day comes, let's say, oh, this is a good one. Waking up at an earlier time. I don't know why this is cracking me up, but waking up at an earlier time is a change that, hypothetically I want to do, or, someone would want to do, right? And so it sounds great, right? Oh gosh, I'm going to be a morning person. I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I'm going to open my windows to let in some fresh air. I'm going to turn on my coffee pot. I'm going to get out my notebook and my devotional, and I'm going to, pray and meditate for 45 minutes, and then I'm going to have breakfast. And the end product of waking up early sounds amazing. I'm going to get up, work out. It's going to be the best days ever because I'm making the most of my days, right? It all sounds wonderful. But then when it comes to actually doing the changes and that alarm goes off at, depending on how many alarms you start, or alarms you set, the alarm goes off at 4:40, 4:50, 4:55, 5:02, 5 o'clock. Let's do 5 o'clock because that's the time, wake up time. And then you've got your snooze alarms that come in, right? And each time the alarm goes off, right? What do we say? Oh, just a few more minutes. And oh, it's so early. Oh, it's so cold. It's dark outside. We begin complaining about the inconvenience of what we said we wanted to do. And so each morning you wake up, literally, I'm thinking about myself with this. Each morning that you wake up and complain about it being early, complain about it being dark, complain about being tired, is you not accepting that this change is going to feel inconvenient. Sleep it in is just appealing to the pleasures of life, and it's not going to feel as inconvenient as waking up and disrupting that cycle. Okay. And so if I can wrap my head around, I'm going to feel inconvenience for about 3 months until this becomes normal. I'm no longer surprised every morning when my alarm goes off in the same way. As a matter of fact, I may not even need to set as many alarms because I'm going to realize that there's no getting around this wake up time if I want to reach my goal, right? I think the extra snooze alarms are more so, again, not wanting to accept the reality that, do you want the goal or do you not? You know what I'm saying? So that's something that you really have to, discern for yourself. Another thing that I would say is that change is going to be uncomfortable. It doesn't mean that everything has to feel fully uncomfortable along the way. But if you do experience discomfort with something that you're trying to do, we've got to learn to lean into that. All right. We've got to learn to not be afraid of that or shy away from that, because that's putting us back in our comfort zone. But when you are changing and showing up differently, let's say setting boundaries in a relationship, or setting boundaries with yourself, setting boundaries with work, it's going to feel uncomfortable to first tell work that I'm leaving at a certain time and that you're not going to stay over, right? Or to tell someone, that how they're speaking to you is disrespectful and that you're not going to tolerate it anymore. You might feel uncomfortable doing that. Your voice might shake when you're doing that, but that's your sign that you need to push forward and lean in. That discomfort is a reminder that you're doing something different. Don't let it make you shy away or become fearful of what you're doing. Take that as a sign that I'm on the right direction. If I'm feeling discomfort, that means I'm changing it up. And that means I just need to hold tight until this space feels more normal. And then I'll be able to even take more steps after that. The last thing I want to say is that change is disruptive. Okay. I think sometimes we try to compartmentalize change to say that I'm just going to change in this one way and then I'm not going to change in the others. But the reality is that once you change in one way, there is kind of a domino effect into other areas of your life. I always think about my sobriety journey when I talk about this. Okay. So I stopped drinking because I needed to stop drinking. And I guess I could kind of figure that other parts of my life would have changed. I wasn't really thinking about that at the time, but I made one decision, which was to stop drinking alcohol, right? And after that, slowly but surely, some fast, some slow, that change started to disrupt other areas of my life. Things that I used to tolerate, people that I used to feel like I had something in common with, emotions that I used to run from, decisions that I used to run from, all like literally everything was disrupted based on that one change, right? And so once I realized that, I was better able to not see every single thing that happened as opposition, and obstacles and, oh, why is this happening? Oh, what is this happening? I started to see it being under the umbrella of sobriety and ultimately under the umbrella of recovery, which is a good thing. It helped me to embrace those things along the way. Once I realized that, no, this is probably going to disrupt some things. You know what I'm saying? This is not something I'm going to be able to just keep in one little narrow lane that nobody's going to know about and nobody's going to notice and I'm not going to change. It's like this change came to disrupt some things. And so I think of this with any health and wellness journey that you may be on. When you start to make different decisions with your eating habits or with your workout schedule or with your sleep schedule, other areas of your life are gonna have to get with the program. There's gonna be some unsettling and resettling of things in your life. And so I want you to anticipate that. I want you to look forward to that, because that's really where the true progress and the changes that you want to see ultimately are going to start taking form. And in the times where it feels like maybe you're losing out, I know that's kind of something that keeps people from changing too, is that they don't want to lose anything, I think if you can wrap your head around the disruption being like a resettling, I think that's a very helpful and maybe peaceful, way to look at things. Is that, will you lose some things? Yes. Will some things maybe resettle in a different way? Yes. And that means that maybe I'm not losing this person or losing this hobby or whatever else completely. It's just resettling differently in my life. My priorities are different. So I'll still have it, or I'll still have it in some shape or form, even though it may not be exactly the same before I made this decision. So I think that, again, change is a hard one. Change and ultimately wrapping your head around change is a hard concept to really fully understand until we start to experience it and walk through it. But if you can just wrap your mind around, it's going to be inconvenient, it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be disruptive, and that those are positive signals. Those are not red flags. Those are positive indicators. I think you will be able to embrace what comes your way with a lot more grace and a lot more patience. Thank you for joining today's video. I hope this was helpful to you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.